Welcome to All Tech Radio podcast on YouTube. This is the show where you learn about news and technology related to working in the world of IT. No matter what your job is in IT, we cover all aspects of work-life balance, job duties, salary, and everything else related to computers and technology. I am your host, Professor Robert McMillan. Along with me is my co-host, IT consultant Scott Portinga, and welcome to the show once again, Scott.
Yeah, good afternoon, Roberts. Good to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad. It's good to be in the air conditioning.
Good day to have an inside job.
Yeah, that's right. Lots of interesting stuff going on this week. One of the things I wanted to point out was I have a new book out. So what I do is I pulled it up it's on Amazon, and it's called Securing Windows Server 2022. I was looking for, Windows security books, and it's amazing how few there are. Actually, there's only one other one. So
Wow.
here we go. This is the second one that's out there now, and you can have them both paperback and Kindle. So what I do is I did something a little bit different with this, and that is that. Instead of just having words on a page, I have a QR code and a link. So let's say you're reading the paperback book and you're like, oh, I wish I had some context to, whatever I'm reading on Windows Defender or Windows Firewall, or whatever it is. I wish I had some context so I can understand this better. Well, at the end of that section, there's a QR code where you can take your phone out, get your camera going, and then it opens up a video. It's an exclusive video just with this book, and it shows you, how to do that particular thing that you just read about.
Excellent.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is very cool. That's a good use of technology.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is doing it. I mean, maybe they are. I'm just not aware of it. And then if you're reading it on Kindle or the Kindle app, say on a tablet or something like that, there's a link that you just can press your finger on and it just opens up the video. So either way, whether you're reading it on an book type of a thing or reading a paperback, you'll be able to see the videos. Let's say exclusive videos not available, to the public, that you only get with the book. So pretty cool. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, then you can go ahead and read it at no extra charge and watch the videos as well.
Well, that's getting to be a truly interactive book style.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that it catches on. So it's pretty neat. But lots of cool stuff going on, such as GTA. You remember the game GTA? Through Rockstar Games.
I will have to say I've never played it,
Okay.
but I do know of it.
All right. Well, it is all about doing illegal things.
It never really caught my attention. It's like, I got other things to do.
Here's what's interesting is there's a hacker who got arrested for hacking. And I guess he's not really good at covering his tracks, but he's really good at hacking. So he was in a hotel room at one point, and while he's in the hotel room, he gets out a Fire Stick. And apparently he was limited to the type of technology he could use. So they wouldn't allow him to have a computer or anything like that. Cause he's a hacker.
Wow. Yep. Exactly.
What's that?
Exactly. It's like giving
yeah.
a bank robber a gun.
Yeah. Now it's not one of those hackers like hack my life on, HGTV. No, this is a real hacker who steals things. And so what happened was all right, so he's limited to his technology and all that. So he somehow gets a hold of one of these Fire Sticks and a keyboard and a mouse. And he's in a travel lodge in London. And his name is Arian Kurtaj. So he's out on bail, and while he's in there and he plugs in, if you have a Fire Stick, you also have the option to open up a web browser, and he uses the web browser to go in and hack. So he goes.
He had spare time, you got to have something to do.
Yeah, and this guy is really good at it too. So he goes in and to Rockstar Games and downloads the entire Grand Theft Auto version 6, which has not been released yet. It not only not released, but Rockstar Games didn't even acknowledge that it existed. And he downloaded the whole thing to like some storage device, and then he started posting snapshots of it online. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto definitely not a game for children. Although I've seen plenty of children play it, which is not a
Yeah,
great
that's
thing.
bad parenting.
Yeah, but he went in and he hacked a whole bunch of other things, and he did it just using the web browser built into an Amazon Fire Stick, which costs like $20.
It's a little Linux computer.
Yeah,
Don't fool yourself.
18 years old. Wow, that is amazing.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good. We talk about other, hacking groups and things like that that know how to do stuff. This guy, he's at the top, no doubt about it. Windows updates. Have you done any Windows updates this week?
I've done quite a few. Got a new client on board, and the previous IT company, the tools I use, my RMM automatically installs updates.
Oh, okay.
There was one machine that had 1,880 updates applied within hours after I installed my tool.
Sounds like
They
they never
had
did
done
updates at all.
nothing. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing.
So for the latest Windows updates that just came out this past week, many Windows 11 computers are throwing up that blue screen of death. So the blue screen of death, unfortunately, is, of course, where the computer says your device ran into a problem, needs to restart, blah, 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 and then it restarts, and then you get the same thing over and over. So this had to do with a knowledge base update 29351, and it said that it's happening for some users, but not all users. One of the errors that they could get is what's called an unsupported processor. So it doesn't recognize Intel or AMD processors, which that's pretty much all there are, right? I mean, except for some
Exactly.
ARM ones, I guess.
Well, the Surface Pros are using ARM processors now.
You remember when the very first Microsoft tablets came out? I mean, this is like 10 years ago. They came out. It was $500 to buy the very first one, and I did a pre-order on it, and it showed up, and it was a little bit slow. It ran on Windows 8, so it might be a little bit more than 10 years now. And then at some point, Microsoft or Windows updated it to 8.1, which made it run even slower. I mean, to the point where it's just unusable. So I just sat it sort of on my shelf, and sometimes it's in the background of some of the videos I do, and not this location, but the different location. And it's just kind of fun to have, sitting there. It turns out now that it's worth a lot of money. Well, not when I say a lot of money, I mean it's worth hundreds of dollars, just because it's the very first version of the Microsoft tablet, the Surface tablet, very
There's
first.
history there, Bob.
Yeah, what's that? It's
There's history.
history. Yeah, and it's on the ARM processor, which is why I brought that up. Yeah, on the ARM processor, and it still works. I could log into it, although slowly, and get, Outlook's on it, Office is on it, all those things. So at some point, I think I'm just going to clear my information off of it and see what I can get for it.
Yeah, yeah. The problem though with the new Surface Pros
Yeah.
with the ARM processor, not everything runs on them.
Yeah, they had this great Windows Store when all that first came out, and for some reason, after the ARM versions didn't sell very well, they closed it up, and I started seeing all of the apps that I installed just one by one disappear.
Well, in my case, I couldn't install the WatchGuard SSL VPN client. Does not run on. It installs.
Oh, it
It
does.
installs fine,
Oh.
but it doesn't run. So yeah, it tries to connect, doesn't connect, comes back to the login page, doesn't tell you there's a problem, but it won't connect, won't finish connecting.
Yeah, I love
So-
those ones that they won't do what you ask them to do, but they won't tell you why.
Yeah.
You know.
And we ended up just doing an L2TP connection.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those tend to work better, especially on Apple products since they stopped supporting the point-to-point tunneling. iOS version 17. I doubt you could get your old iPhone up to version 17, right?
Oh, no.
No. What did it stop at? About 12 or 13, something like that?
That's a good question. Yeah, let me check.
Oh, okay. Well, iOS 17 has this application called Apple Maps, which comes with it. And it now gives you the option to do an offline map. So you can download the map to for whatever directions you're getting to. So it's not like it's going to download the entire country that you're in. But when you go to punch in, say, hey, I want to get to my doctor or whatever, it'll give you the option to download the directions, right there on your phone, in case you get into an area where there's no cell service.
That's excellent. Yeah. I've seen that a lot with the Google Maps also. You can download that. So, you're going through valleys, no internet, no LTE.
Yeah. I go out to the coast, and on Highway 26, you can't get coverage for half the time.
Yeah, there's a dead zone there.
Yeah. So it's nice to be able to do when I first started using the Google Maps, because I have an Android and you have iPhone, obviously. The first time I did that, it would just show a blank screen with an arrow going, "Where am I?" but it got better. Eventually, it started downloading, and then now I don't have that problem anymore, which is nice.
Well, the iPhone 7 will do up to 15.7.8.
Oh, that's further than I thought. So that's still pretty secure. Okay.
It is.
Did you see the video? You probably don't, because you're not a big, meme guy, but there was a video of this couple that was meeting on one of those speed dating things. It's where they put like maybe 20 or so couples, or 20 or so people, men and 20 women in a room. And then they do speed dating, where they sit down at a table for 30 seconds, and then you see whether or not you're a good match. And then the buzzer goes off and you go on to the next one. And then at the very end, you go, okay, these are the people I really liked and I would like to see again. All right. So this one guy sits down at a table with this one woman, and, they're talking, and she's got her iPhone out, and she's, "Oh, have you seen this on the iPhone, on Instagram or something like that?" And he pulls out his Android, and she goes, "You have an Android?" And then she just starts cracking up and says, "This isn't going to work." And she kicks
We're done.
out. I thought, "Boy, that's rude. I have an Android."
Well, I am part of a mixed marriage. My wife has Android.
Oh, she
I have
does.
Apple.
Okay. All right.
That's just because she's cheap.
Oh, well, wait a minute. I thought you were cheap. You're saying that your wife is cheaper than you?
She's cheaper than me.
Wow. That is impressive. Google boosts Gmail security with a new verification check. You have Gmail, right?
I do.
Everybody seems to have Gmail, even if you don't use it. At some point, you signed up for
Yeah.
it. I signed up for it so long ago; it was still in beta, and you had to have somebody invite you to get it. You couldn't just sign up for it.
I remember that back when it was
Yeah.
first out.
Yeah, when it was first out, yeah. So Google introduced a new safety feature, this is according to zdnet.com, to keep workspace accounts safe when certain changes are made. At first it was like, hey, I got this new thing, are you interested in it? And I'd say no. And then they said, hey, you really, like a couple of days later, when I go to sign back in, you really, really need to, use this new verification thing. And I'm like, no. And now it's like, yeah, you're going to be using this new verification.
Yeah, it's scary. It's non-negotiable.
Exactly, yeah. So undertaking sensitive actions in your Gmail account will cause a verification box to pop up, which will ensure the person making the changes is authorized. It's not just that, though. I mean, it's also just logging into your account. You're getting prompted for this two-factor authentication or this verification, type of a thing. I actually do like the email that says, hey, somebody's trying to log into your Gmail. I've had people from other countries try to log into my Gmail, and it's nice to have it'll pop up. Now, that nobody's ever gotten in, but it was just, the attempt had been made. So my email is out there. Have you ever gone to that website, Have I Been Owned?
I have.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So yeah, that's a good place to go. I don't remember the URL for that. Is it haveibeenowned.com or something like that? Maybe you could take a look for me if you don't mind.
Let me pull that up.
Yeah. And what it does is it allows you to enter your email address just to find out if your email address and password has been compromised at some point. Now, if you've changed your password, fairly recently, then you're probably fine. But if you have the same password you had, for the last several years or longer, some people never change their password, then you definitely should go and change your password.
The website is Have I Been Pwned?
Oh,
PWNED.com.
I hate it when people do that.
Yeah.
PWND. Okay, got it. HaveIBeenOwned.com, but with a P. Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's cool. MSI. MSI makes a lot of motherboards and other things like that, and they video cards, I think, too, or at least they put their name on video cards, probably like on NVIDIA cards and things like that. They accidentally released the next generation Intel Raptor Lake CPU specs and performance. Ooh, that's a big oops. So yeah, the next, I'm sure this is a closely guarded secret, but when you become a vendor where you supply something for other vendors, they make you sign a non-disclosure agreement for any new products, so you don't give away stuff to the competition. Well,
you mean like this?
What's that?
Does she mean like giving away information like this?
Yeah, exactly like this. Yeah. So MSI did a little bit of a mistake here, according to PCGamer.com, where they accidentally published a YouTube video detailing Intel's upcoming 14th generation Raptor Lake, which is a really dumb name, CPUs, which are coming out soon. The video even included an NDA, do not share. In the video. Don't share this information that I just posted on YouTube for public consumption. Wow. After some conflicting...
This is going to be more than just a hand slap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. After some conflicting rumors over the core counts of the new processors, et cetera, said that the Core i7 version 14700 are getting added cores. Okay, so they're adding more cores. The 13th gen had eight cores. The new 14th is going to get 4 more. So it's going to have 12 cores. Oh, okay. That's cool. You know, these processors have gotten so good. It's been a while since the processor has been the bottleneck.
Yep.
And I mean, usually it's the hard drive, right? You know, and for a while it was the RAM, and then they doubled the speed and doubled the speed and doubled the speed. Now RAM is super fast, which is great.
Hey, remember when dual cores were the thing?
Oh yeah, and quad cores, yeah.
Two cores.
Two? You're kidding me. So, you know, the processors on these things have gotten so good that I still have, well, like the PC I'm on now. I do all kinds of recordings on it. I record for various different companies making how-to videos and things like that. I think it's probably 5 years old now, and it's a Core i7. And I'm using an SSD drive, so of course the drive is no longer a bottleneck. 32 gigs of RAM. And it still works fine. I mean, it works just as fast on Windows 11 as it did on anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, right now I'm running on this is an i5, 32 gigs of RAM, dual core.
Wait, you're on a dual core?
Well, it's an i5 6200
CPU.
Okay. Yeah, 32 gigs of RAM, SSD.
Okay.
And the SSD just makes a world of difference.
It does. Now, beyond SSDs, they have something called NVMEs. I can't remember what NVM stands for, but NVMEs, they look like sticks of RAM. And they are faster than the 2.5-inch SSD drives. Well, it depends on which ones you get, but the more money you spend, probably the faster it's going to be.
Yeah, I've always tended to buy Samsung. They make good ones.
Yeah, yeah. Samsung for a while had a higher failure rate, but in general, I think people trust them more than some of these Chinese ones that nobody's ever heard of. Samsung is a Korean one, South Korean, make sure. So, they're a Korean manufacturer. I mean, it doesn't mean that they don't make stuff in China, but a lot of times these companies, they'll have certain specifications, and it doesn't matter where they're made as long as they meet those specifications. But if you have some of these hard drives or other components that are made in China with companies that you've never heard of, they may be just leftovers or ones that the company they made them for originally rejected. So, like Yanggu and, some of these other ones are really hard to pronounce. So they'll make the stuff for companies like Samsung. And then Samsung will do their testing and they'll say, okay, out of these million units, these, 100,000 I can't sell. So they'll send back the 100,000 units to, the Chinese company, and the Chinese company slaps their own name on it and then throws it on Amazon.
Oh, by the way, NVMe stands for non-volatile memory host controller interface.
And that makes a lot of sense because memory is volatile memory, right? So when the power goes off, the whatever's in it goes away. Whereas these things look exactly like RAM, just like memory, but they specifically call them non-volatile memory. So that makes sense because the power goes away, yet the data is still there. So you can move it to another location. And
I still remember hearing about when they're making processors.
yeah.
They make, say, a bunch of i5 processors, and then they test them. So, this one is this speed, goes over here. This one is that speed. I had always thought that they would, create ones at a certain speed. They really don't. At least at one point, the manufacturing process was such that they kind of got a random, batch,
Really?
and they would just, put them in different bins based on the speed that they tested.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. So they have a huge run, and then whatever speed it shows up on, they call that, the i5 version, whatever.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and within that run, there's
Yeah.
different speeds.
I remember in the old days of videotape. You remember videotape, right?
Oh yeah.
People, it's funny. People still, when they record something on their camera phone, or whatever video on their smartphone, they'll say, "I just taped you." I'm like, "No, you didn't.
You recorded me. You didn't take
You
me.
didn't tape me." But people still use that all the time, which is really funny. But they did something similar with videotape, where they would have a multiple mile run of videotape. And you remember how some videotapes cost a lot more than others. So the middle section of the videotape creation run was the highest quality. It had the
prime
least
cut.
amount of I don't know, defects, I guess. And so they would call that like their platinum videos. And then you go further out and you'd be gold and silver or whatever. And then when you get the very tail end of it, those are the ones that cost 99 cents that you record
They're at the dollar
MacGyver on
store.
or something, So yeah, that's how they did that as well. I didn't realize they did that with processors, but that makes sense. I guess it would be a lot cheaper to do it that way than it would to do one for each, speed and then throw out the ones that don't match it.
Yeah, well, this was an older, I don't know if they've refined the process such that they get more of exactly what they want when they manufacture.
Yeah.
But this was years ago, but I don't know if that's changed or not.
I would assume if they did it then, they probably still do it, but it'd be good to, be interesting to find out. I would love to take a tour of Intel. I wonder if they even allow that. I mean, we're only like a couple of miles from it, So I mean, before I moved, I could have thrown a rock and hit one of the Intel buildings.
Yes, but then they had that cease and desist order.
That does it. Yeah, I get a lot of those. I'm not sure why that is. I think it's because I yell a lot. I don't know.
Maybe you could call them and say, we got a podcast, we got listenership. Can we come in and do a little video?
Yeah, that's a good idea. There was an article out this week that Intel, because of their expansion and the new products that they're making, they are requesting, and they're going to get it, a permit from the state of Oregon to be a big polluter. Like a primary polluter. I forget what the term is, but so a major polluter, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Supreme polluter.
Supreme polluter. Yeah. So they're going to. You have to. I guess if you go over a certain amount, you have to get this, license to be able to do it. I know we have these carbon licenses where some companies who don't use all of their because they have really good carbon scrubbers, they sell these overages of carbon producing to ones that can't install the scrubbers.
Or don't want to.
Yeah, they don't want to. Right. It's cheaper for them to use somebody else's that they didn't use. So these companies that have really the high efficiency types of production plants, they can make extra money when they set up something like that against these older production things. But Intel, yeah, they're going to be a major polluter, and I'm so glad I moved away, from being that close to the plant.
Yeah.
It's not like I could hear anything. It's not. There was no no noise or anything like that. But I mean, you could literally just walk down the street from my old house and just walk right into your office.
Well, and the problem with pollution, it's not like they have campfires. This is serious stuff that if it gets out, I remember I used to do made circuit boards back at Tektronix, And every once in a while, the scrubbers in the circuit board plant would misbehave,
Oh, really?
and they would be handing out all sorts of coupons for car washes because
Oh.
because how the stuff would land on the cars around the plant. And
What about like asthma inhalers? That might have been helpful.
no free asthma inhalers. Sorry.
Now, what about one free cancer detection and fix?
Yeah, within 6
And
months
cure.
of this date, you can go in and get your free cancer screen.
Yes. Well, they're talking about putting out metals, heavy metals. Now, a lot of people are able to process those metals up to a certain point, but then you have other people who are not able to process them. They have certain genetic issues that keep them from doing it. Those people, it's almost like getting too much lead in your system. They start acting, not so normal, and maybe start committing crimes and stuff like that. I mean, that's something to
They're
look
going
into
to politics,
5 years from now.
What's
that?
I said, or they could go into politics.
Or they could go into politics. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Boy, have you seen that picture? I bet you have, haven't you?
What picture are you talking
Trump's
about?
picture, his mugshot. I've never seen someone look so angry. Wow.
Did you see the Giuliani one?
Oh, yes. He just looked defeated. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Well, he is. He's
Yeah.
broke. He's been arrested. His boss won't pay him.
Oh,
He's-
his
he's in
life
a-
stinks.
he's in a whirl of hurt.
Yeah. He's having a hard time.
I mean, with all the people that Trump hasn't paid over the years, these people still think that they're not going to be the ones that don't get paid
Right.
because he promised.
That's right.
I mean, he's been stiffing contractors for 30 years.
Oh, yeah. A long, long time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had an interesting life. YouTube is testing a new feature. This is from BGR.com. A new feature that, well, do you like to hum?
I don't,
So you just hummed. When I was a kid, my dad, when he would hum, it was bad. So basically, like Saturday morning, trying to sleep in, had a rough week at school because I was there for like 6-7 hours a day, had gym class, had math, all those things. And so Saturday, I'm, I, of course, not realizing what a real job is like. So Saturday morning comes, my dad's been driving down to, from the Chicago suburbs, driving into Chicago every day for 35 years, right? So, he's coming around my bedroom humming. And I know, oh no, I'm about to get a whole bunch of work. Now humming was bad, but whistling was way worse. So if he was whistling, it meant I could cancel my plans for the weekend.
Hey, Bobby, come out to the garage with me.
You got that right, yeah. But if it's humming, it's like, okay, a couple of hours of raking the leaves, mowing the lawn, whatever it is, building a brick wall, whatever it is he wants, I don't care. But if he's whistling, it's like, oh no, hide under the covers, crawl out the window, do whatever you can to get out because he's coming. So YouTube is testing this new feature that lets you hum a song to your phone to identify it, and you're going to get to use it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So YouTube wants to take on Shazam. I guess it's one of the apps. Have you ever used Shazam?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a good free app to talk about. You can have it listen to music, and it'll tell you who the artist is.
Oh, okay. Okay. I hadn't used it, so I didn't know that. So they're taking them on with something that goes even further, that lets you hum a song into your microphone, and it assigns work to your children. No, that's not what it does. It hum a song into the microphone.
There's an app in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'll
Robert,
bet
you
you're right. I'll bet you're right. There's one, and it will hopefully find the song for you. In YouTube, it'll let YouTube identify the song. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's so Apple owns Shazam. I didn't realize that. But this is going to be exclusively on Android devices. Oh, you're not going to be able to use it.
Oh, that's not
Sorry
true. I
about
have
that.
Android devices here too.
Oh, that's right. You can go to your wife's phone in case there's a song stuck in your head. You can't remember what the name of it is.
I've got a Fire tablet.
Oh, okay. You
So,
gonna do any hacking on that thing too, or?
no, probably not. Although I do need to jailbreak it. There's a way you can go in and make it so you can install regular Android apps as opposed to just Fire-based
Oh
apps.
yeah, I've done that. So like I've ordered a couple of different Fire tablets. One of them I use as when you take when you're on camera and you have a teleprompter and you read off teleprompter,
Hmm.
you can use a tablet for that now. So
Oh,
you buy a little device. It's like a little handheld device that you can move back and forth, and it communicates using Bluetooth to the tablet, and then the app on there launches whatever Word document or whatever it is you put in there.
oh,
Is you can upload a document to it, and then
hmm,
as you read it, you can use your thumb to scroll through the teleprompter.
excellent.
Yeah, it's really neat. So I've done that for several videos, over the years, and it's a pretty nice little feature. But anyway, QR codes used to phish for Microsoft credentials. I did not know this was a new hack, or a hack that had been out there and I wasn't aware of it. So, well, this is from Malwarebytes, which we've used.
Yep.
We've used that many times. Researchers have published details about a phishing campaign. So that means typically they're trying to email you this information with a QR code in the email. Uses QR codes to phish for Microsoft credentials. So a QR code, in case you don't know what that is, it's a box and it has a whole bunch of squares and patterns in it. And I took my links for the videos for the book I was telling you about earlier, and I uploaded it to a site, and it gave me the QR codes I needed to put into the book. So this is that same kind of thing. It'll take any kind of link or any kind of words, whatever it is you want to do, and it will create this box with a bunch of squares in it that can be translated by your phone or tablet. So typically it's used to open up a link or to install an application.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that,
and people have gotten a little bit crazy on these. Have you seen them on billboards and on buses?
oh, I
It's like
have, yeah.
they could publish anything they want, and people say, "Oh," and go through and scan it, not even thinking that they don't know where it's going or who it's from.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you could be going to one of these things that is trying to steal your information. So the data
Hmm.
that the QR code stores can include URLs, email addresses, network details, Wi-Fi passwords, serial numbers, all these different things can be easily manipulated by scammers because they all appear similar to the human eye. The code may lead you to a spoofed website where you enter your credit card information and other things like that.
Yeah,
That
the spoof emails, the phishing emails have gotten so much better, and they look good. And the problem is the email. When you hover over the email address,
yeah.
we're pretty sure that that's the email address, but hidden inside that detail, it may not be. It's we've kind of come to rely on that as a way to check it, but if you dig deeper into the details of the email, it may not be.
That's true. I have a YouTube page you can get to it at techpublishing.com, where I just created a video this week that shows you how to use what's called a link file, LNK. Have you heard of link files before? It's kind of
I have.
oh, you have? Okay. It's not a well-known kind of a hack, but a lot of these phishing emails, so you receive, let's say you advertise for a new employee, and you get all these PDF files that come in. Well, I show in this video how you can create a fake PDF file, but actually what it does is when you double click on it, it launches PowerShell to download malicious code. And it's as scary as heck to see
Hmm.
how easy it is to do this. Now, fortunately, most anti-malware, including Windows Defender, will catch this kind of thing. But in some cases, if your computer is, being overly taxed because you're maybe running a backup or you're running a game or something like that, then the anti-malware won't respond fast enough, and the payload will get downloaded to your computer, and then it's game over at that point. Literally game
Yeah,
over.
I had a client whose HR department was very paranoid, and she was like, "I'm starting to get all these resumes in here. I need to be able to look at them without them being on my computer." And actually, we came to a good solution to that is an iPad.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
the code is meant to infect computers. It's
Right,
not going to
right.
affect the
Windows or
iPad.
something like, or Mac, but maybe
Yep.
not an iOS. That's a good idea.
Exactly.
And you can download those to the tablet and then take the tablet offline, and then you don't have to worry about it, any infections either. I remember there was a client that we had years ago. They were not consulting, but therapy place. I remember that was right next door to one of our offices.
Yep, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that.
and twice they had that same thing happen. They had PDF files they opened up, and it ransomwared their computers, and that was at a time where anti-malware could not stop ransomware. Now most of them can, but at that time, no, it just wasn't possible to stop it. And so what we ended up doing was we created we set up a computer that they could take offline. So they downloaded all the email, and then they unplugged the network cable or just disconnected it through the Windows setup, and then they opened up all the PDF files. And anytime they got ransomed at that point, you would just format the thing and start over again.
Yeah, actually, a good thing to use for that. Remember the program called Deep Freeze?
Yes, that's we still use that at PCC at Portland Community
Yeah.
College. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it would basically you download something, you can get as infected as you want to.
Right.
Turn it off and turn it back on. It's a new day.
it's
It's
brand
all,
new. You can do whatever you want to it.
starts fresh.
Except for
Yeah.
take a hammer to it. That it doesn't help you there.
That's true. It's not going to come back from that.
Yeah, but we'd have students do all kinds of crazy things, and sometimes we'd actually tell them to do certain crazy things because we wanted them to see what would happen if they downloaded something that may be hinky that they shouldn't
yeah.
be doing, because we could always just hit reset and they're back again, which is a great thing. I like to use virtual machines when I test out a file that I'm not sure if it's going to be infected. So I'll just copy the file up to a virtual machine on my local computer that I've installed. I've got Hyper-V on here. You could use VirtualBox or VMware Workstation, whatever. And then I'll disconnect the network cable in the virtual machine. You can go in and say, don't use a network adapter. And then you're just basically on a standalone virtual machine that can't communicate with anything. And then you run the file, see what happens.
Your own little sandbox.
Yeah. So these researchers have been monitoring this campaign since May of this year. It targets a lot of different industries, but it's focusing, and this is a little bit scary now, kids, focusing on major energy companies. Ooh. That means
Ouch.
that you've got countries like Russia and China, which are testing out or even trying to bring down our energy grid. So if and when we do go to war, they'll be able to, shut all that down.
Can't they just be happy within their own borders? They got so many other problems. They have other things to spend their money on. It's just ridiculous.
You're right. It's like the worst thing in the world is that we exist.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you just make your own people better? Why your own lives better? Why you have to mess with us?
Yeah. or invade other countries. These countries that used to be part of the Soviet Union are independent,
Right.
because they want to be.
Yeah.
None of your business.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of other countries, I got an email from an Australian fellow, because last week I said I did not want to, murder the the Australian accent, and he posted to our last podcast that said, I am an Australian and I give you permission. So I appreciate that. But I think I'm going to take that shrimp off the Barbie and not try to do that Australian accent. But I do appreciate the approval.
If you ever get the urge, it's okay.
That's right. You mentioned QR codes on the backs of buses. Another interesting thing that's on the back of buses, and I can't remember exactly where I was. I was pretty sure I was in Oregon. I might have been in Illinois. I don't know where I was traveling. But I saw an ad for Texas assistance, financial assistance for immigrants. I was not in Texas at the time.
It always seems like the overall gist of Texas was they don't want to help immigrants.
You're exactly right. So what they do is by law, they have to use money that's earmarked to advertise to immigrants that this financial assistance is available. However, the law did not stipulate where they could use the advertising money. So the immigrants would not be able to see it and use it. They pay, for bus advertisements in other states far away from Texas.
Oh, of course they do.
Wow. Wow. And I realize they have an immigration problem. I totally understand there's a border issue. I'm not, knocking that in any way. That's a tough job. I get it. But it just seems like they're just finding new ways just to be unethical and immoral.
Oh, yeah, that whole thing they were putting in the Rio Grande, the thing down the middle of it with the pontoons.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And
yeah.
the razor wire.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, come on.
It could be drowning people. It turns out it was on the Mexican side anyway. So I think they're going to have to take that down if they haven't already.
Yeah, I hope so.
You had sent me an interesting article that I wanted to mention. That is a new law in Illinois about influencers. Yeah, influencer parents profit from kids on social media, and they're changing the law so they can't do that. So parents, this is from... I don't even know. This is a really long name. Parents who make money posting videos of their children on social media channels may soon be legally required to share that revenue with their kids. Well, I guess they won't be able to keep all of it, but share it? That seems, okay. You have kids cost money. Maybe you're out of work. Okay. The kids are making money. Why not take a small part of that? But
that's true.
All of it? Most of it? I mean, there were rules to protect child actors. Apparently now there's rules to protect, child influencers. So the Illinois Senate Labor Committee unanimously approved. Well, that's a rare thing in a state that's split like that.
That's true.
Guarantee children a right to a percentage of that revenue if the video meets certain criteria. They'll not be able to profit. Well, it says they won't be able to profit from the work of their children. That's not true. They won't. They'll still be able to do it. They just won't be able to take all of it.
Well, yeah, they said it's no different than kid television stars having protections.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here. We got. Oh, I love this. You remember when we went to the Consumer Electronics Show, and they had come out with 75-inch and 100-inch TVs.
Mm-hmm.
The 100-inch TV at that time was $100,000. And I don't even think it was 4K at the time. I think it was just a 1080p, because I think it was before 4K came out. But yeah.
Huge pixels.
Oh, yeah. $100,000. Now, TCL, which makes budget TVs, I'm not a big TCL fan. It's not the best quality, but it does the job.
It works.
Yeah. You can get that same, a newer, better 100-inch TV because now you have 4K. Now you have, QLED, which makes the blacks blacker. It doesn't look gray. All these different types of things. And, it even has hands-free voice control. 100 inches, $5,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, Scott's like, hey, maybe when it comes down to $50.
That wall right there.
There's no way your wife's going to let you get that.
Yeah, I think I need a couple new computer monitors.
Yeah. The worst thing about these giant TVs is when they break, what do you do with them? You can't fit them in your car to take them to anywhere. It's like a refrigerator.
I've seen big broken TVs put on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to pay to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And I guess somebody might be able to fix it. They're just hoping.
Well, there's a certain amount of rare metals in there. There's some gold in there. There's, possibly some platinum. It just depends on what you've got. So I would assume that, in every phone, they said there's $5 worth of gold in it. In a 100-inch TV, you got some, you probably got some money in those things, just in melting that stuff down.
Well, I've got a recycler that you can basically drop off anything electronic. They'll take it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Maybe we should have them on to say what it is that they'll take and what they won't take.
They might be open to being on for a segment.
Oh, hey, if they're going to advertise, why not?
Exactly.
All right, charge them $100. So yeah, TCL is second only to Samsung in global television sales. Wow.
I wonder if, there's a very limited number of companies that actually make the flat panels.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're
We
right.
got all those brands out there. They're just rebranded. So TCL could be rebranded as who knows what.
I'll bet they do. Yeah. I would assume that Sony, because they were the leader at one point, I would assume that Sony was, the big player still, but they are not.
No,
I heard
they
it.
kind of backed off that.
Yeah, I heard at one point the leader, the CEO of Sony, said that they were losing money on making TVs.
Well, they were probably trying to, to compete on the prices. And they did have really good quality. I remember when I bought my first one, I was comparing Vizio and Sony. The Sony was better. It was noticeably a little bit better. It wasn't $150 better, but
I love how cheap
But,
yours got. It makes me so happy. That's because I know you're always looking for the best deal. So if I need something,
Yep.
I know you'll find it for me. So that you are the
Absolutely.
guy. You know, guy. I know you. You're the guy. That's great.
and if I can't do it, I know a guy.
That's right. Well, Scott, it's been another fun Alltech Radio podcast show. And is there anything else that you'd like to say before we head off for the week?
No, not really. Not today.
Not today. All right.
I gotta go mess with certificates on a Google website.
Oh, those
so
are always fun.
Yep.
Google sold their certificate service. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. You used to be able to buy them directly through G Suite from Google, and they sold it to some other company now. I'm sure you could still buy it through Google G Suite, but it's just not going to Google anymore, which is kind of crazy.
Huh.
But yeah. All right. Well, don't forget to check out the Securing Windows Server 2022 book on Amazon and also on Kindle. And we will see you again next week.
Okay.